Okay, this is Algebra lesson 5.5, solving inequalities involving absolute value. Okay, so here's our situation. Absolute value of m plus 2 is less than 11. You're going to rewrite this in two ways, right? You're going to go m plus 2 is less than 11, and then you're going to do this. The other one would be negative m plus 2 is less than 11. You put a negative outside of the whole thing, right? You're going to put a negative in this whole thing. Agreed? That whole thing can be negative. So then you're going to have that negative out there. So now let's solve the two. We have minus 2 minus 2. M is less than 9. And then this one, what do I have here? I need to do a distributive property. Agreed? Negative m minus 2 is less than 11. Now what? I go plus 2 plus 2. Negative m is less than 13. I have a negative m. What do I do now? I have to multiply by negative 1, which means that I'm going to do what to everything? Flip everything, including the sign. M is greater than 13. There's that. There's that. Now that we have that, we can... Negative 13. Thank you. Now that I have that... did I do that right over here? Oh, right. When I flipped it, I just forgot to do it. Okay. How can I write this? I would say the solution set of m is, we go 9m. Oh, so I have to do that. I did that backwards, right? So it needs to go the 13. So negative 13 is this to m, which is this to 9. Agreed? Makes sense? And so then how would I graph this? What is this going to look like? Look here, people. Since it's this type, since it looks like this, we know it's an and statement, right? It's an and statement. And so it's going to look like this. It's going to be something here, and they're going to be like this. Agreed? You know what I'm talking about? Okay? So then you would know, how to do that. That would be negative 13 and 9, open to open, and we're done. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a chance to do one here really quick. Try this one. Try n minus 8. Absolute value of n minus 8 is less than or equal to 2. Try it. Don't forget, when you do the two cases, you got to put the negative outside of the whole thing, right, in parentheses. Don't forget to do that. All right, here we go. So you're looking. We have two different cases, right? There's two possible solutions here. We have this being a non-negative, and we have this being a negative, right? So the non-negative would be n minus 8 less than or equal to 2. And the negative one would be negative n minus 8 is less than or equal to 2. Agreed? I just got the same thing. Just one of them is non-negative, and one of them is a negative. Okay, solve them. Plus 8, n is less than or equal to 10. Agreed? There's one. This one, rainbow, negative n plus 8 less than or equal to 2 minus 8 minus 8. Negative n less than or equal to negative 6. Flip everything, n greater than or equal to 6. Right? Now, how do I write that as in simple notation? The solution set of n is, start with the smallest one, so you'd go 6. And then if the n is greater than or equal to it, see, I just look at this down here and go, oh, wait, the n has got the open mouth towards it. Awesome. And then here like this, and there's 10. Make sense? And then since they're all or equal to, when I grab this, I have my 0, a 6, and a 10. Solid to solid. We're done. How have you got that? Does it make sense? Make sense? Okay. Here's one. Let's see how many of you can get this. Try this one. Absolute value of 2c minus 5 is less than negative 3. You're all wrong. Here's the deal. Absolute value is always positive. Can any positive number be less than negative 3? I want you to see this. Can any since this is guaranteed to be positive, can any positive number be less than negative 3? No. Okay. That's no good. Right? No good. Okay, then try this then. Try I'm going to give you a different one. Let's go, let's do this. Let's go r minus 6, it's kind of an easy one, is greater than or equal to negative 5. Is this possible? Look, can any positive number be greater than or equal to negative 5? They can't be. No number would be greater than or equal to negative 5. They would all positive numbers would be greater than or equal to negative 5. Agreed? All positive numbers would be, right? So anyway, just go ahead and do this. Do it correctly, and you'll see that there is a solution here to this. I just want you to see that this is doable. You guys got it? So here's the deal. Two scenarios, right? R minus 6 greater than or equal to negative 5. And negative r minus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Right? That's the two scenarios. Boom. Plus 6 plus 6. R is greater than or equal to 1. And, rainbow, rainbow, negative r plus 6 greater than or equal to negative 5. Minus 6 minus 6, negative r is greater than or equal to negative 11. Flip everything, r less than or equal to 11. There they are. Let's see what it looks like on the graph. We have a 0, we have a 1, we have an 11, right? It is greater than 1 or equal to 1, and it's less than or equal to 11, right? So then it would look, without this, it would just look like this. Make sense? Make sense? Okay. Right? Try this one. Here we go. Last one we're going to try, then I'll let you get going. Absolute value of 3n plus 6 is greater than or equal to 12. All right, so here we go. Two scenarios. Positive scenario, 3n plus 6 greater than or equal to 12. The negative scenario would be a negative 3n plus 6 greater than or equal to 12. Right? The two scenarios. Minus 6 minus 6, 3n less than or equal to 6, divide by 3, divide by 3, n greater than or equal to 2. Right? Where we get that one? Okay. Over here, rainbow, rainbow, negative 3n minus 6 greater than or equal to 12. Plus 6, I have negative 3n greater than or equal to 18. Then I have divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. What did I just do? I just do what? I divide by negative, so n is now less than or equal to negative 6. So I have n is less, so here's my deal. Solution set of n is negative 6 n is less than or equal to that, and it is also greater than or equal to 2. So let's graph this thing. I have -6, 0, and 2. It is less than -6 or equal to, so solid circle to the left, and it's greater than or equal to 2 going out. Does that make sense? Therefore, what kind of a statement was this? It's an or, right? This whole thing here was that is an or. Right? That would be an or statement. But it doesn't matter. You can still write it down here like this. Right? Okay. How many of you got that? Good. You all know how to do this, then you're in good shape. The only other kind, if you look at page 312, look at number 23. Do number 23. Let's do that. Do 23. What makes it so difficult, or what makes it different, is that there's a fraction, right? There's a fraction, so it's no big deal. 23. Two scenarios, 3h plus 1 divided by 2 is less than 8, or, boom, negative 3h plus 1 divided by 2 is less than 8. Okay. What do I do here? Multiply both sides by 2, right? I got to get rid of that denominator. Times 2 times 2. They're gone. 3h plus 1 less than 16. Minus 1, minus 1. 3h less than 15. Divide by 3, divide by 3. H less than 5. There's one of them. Over here. One thing you can do right off the bat is you could turn that negative, and you could try and fix all these weird things. I mean, technically, you could put the negative, you could get rid of these guys here, right? You could do that and make this thing over here, make this just a -2 down here. You know what I'm saying? And get rid of this. And because you know that's the same thing. You know that, right? We've done this before. What's the difference between -1/2, -1 over 2, or 1 over -2? What's the difference between them? Nothing. And so what I would have done is I would have moved that -2. I would have moved this thing here and just put it right here. Does that make sense? And now make this real simple. Multiply both sides by what? -2 times by -2. Multiply by -2. That makes this 3h plus 1. Oh, I just multiply by negative. Greater than -16. Minus 1 minus 1. 3h greater than -17 divided by 3 divided by 3. H is greater than whatever that is. 5 2/3. -5 2/3. Is that what you guys got? 5 and -5. I might have done something wrong. Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong? I ran out of room. Let me rewrite this. That's a problem that I have, is that I run out of room. -3h plus 1 over 2 is less than 8. Okay, so then that would be 3h plus 1 over -2 is less than 8. Multiply by -2, multiply by -2. 3h plus 1 is greater than -16. What did I do wrong? I have to multiply everything by negative? I guess what I should do, you're right, I'll right off the bat just flip everything and make this be 3h plus 1 over 2 is greater than -8. Right? Isn't that multiplying both sides by -1? Multiply by 2, multiply by 2. 3h plus 1 is greater than -16. Minus 1 minus 1. We're still at -1 minus 1.
So you just have to flip the whole fraction. -3h
But if I multiply both sides by -1, then that would get rid of this -1, right? Isn't that?
No, I mean, so do 3h minus 1 instead of plus 2.
Why would you do negative?
Hold on, I'm going to look this up.
That's why it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is minus 5 2/3, like I thought. So then that's gone. 3h is less than or greater than 3h greater than -17. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. It is -5 2/3. Right. So know this. Let's go back to the part that you're confused about. It was negative, and then there's a big thing here. 3h plus 1 over 2. Right, and that's greater than whatever. It doesn't matter. How do I get rid of? Do you agree that that's a -1 out here? I could have put a 1 if I wanted. I could have put a 1 there. I don't have one there. But what could I do here? If I'm just going to multiply by -1, what does that get rid of? Doesn't that just get rid of this -1? Right? Isn't this one giant negative sign? There's a negative sign in front of this. So by me flipping every sign, I'm really flipping that guy. Make sense? Make sense? Let's do this. We'll make it equal to 15, whatever. Do you agree that's -1? Okay. Let's not flip the signs yet. Okay? Let's not flip the signs yet. Let's do distributive property. Do you agree that everything inside of here I need to distribute? Agreed? I need to do that? Actually, I need to distribute it to just the top two. Whatever I do, since this -1 is multiplying everything in here, when I multiply it again by -1, aren't I just going to flip it all back? Right? Aren't I just going to flip it all back? I guess I'm confused. If this wasn't here, this is the whole thing's happy. Agreed? We're just all chilling. We're good. If I multiplied it by -1, if I multiplied it by -1, what would I do? I would flip every sign. Agreed? If I multiplied it by -1 again, what would I do? Flip them all back, right? So since there's a negative out here, what am I doing when there's a -1 out here? Aren't I flipping every sign? Then when I multiply by -1 again, aren't I flipping every sign back to where it was? Does that make sense? Does that not make sense? What is -4 times -1? What is times -1 again? -4, it goes back, right? I'm confused. See, these eyes up here now watching, so you can see what I'm doing here. This whole thing over here, right, is a mess. Do you agree it's a mess? Okay, it's a mess. I need to clean up the mess. Everything inside of here is being multiplied by what? You see it's being multiplied by -1? By me going -4, did you know that 4 is being multiplied by -1 here? Did you know that 4 is being multiplied by -1 here? Do y'all see that? For real? So then 4x plus 3 divided by 5 is being multiplied by -1. Right? Okay. I know that this is no good. And so to make things real simple for us, to get rid of that negative out there, that's just really a -1, is I could multiply both sides by a -1, and that's going to flip everything back. Here's the deal. Whatever this negative does to anything in here, whatever it is, whatever it does, whatever mess it makes in here, I can undo that by doing what? How can I undo that? By multiplying by -1. Whatever this -1 did by multiplying, I'm going to undo it by multiplying it by -1. So then, by multiplying by -1, I'm eliminating that guy, and I have to multiply this side by -1. I just multiply by negative, people, so it's 4x plus 3 over 5 less than -2. Y'all see that? And then multiply by 5, multiply by 5. 4x plus 3 is greater less than negative 10 minus 3 minus 3, 4x. You get the point, right? Something else I need you to see. This is where good math students can recognize this sort of thing. And that is this. And we've talked about this already. If I have negative 3/4, I'm aware that that is the exact same thing. That this is the same as negative 3/4 or 3/-4. I know it's the same. Good math students recognize that that's the same. So then, if you see that this and this are the same, what you could do, if this is confusing to you, is for you to go, oh, well then 4x plus 3/-5 is the exact same thing as that. I just went from here to here, and I did it from here to here. Do you understand what I'm saying? You just got to know that that's the same. You're allowed to do that. Anyway, your homework.